All right, guys, welcome to the Aftershow, Season 3, Episode 1 of the Aftershow. We don't actually have episode numbers for the Aftershow. It's just the Aftershow 9/2/2015.
This would be Episode 1
This would be
had you watched before now, but
Yes.
you're probably a lot
watches
cooler
the
because you
Aftershow?
watched the
Who
Aftershow.
watches? No one watches the Aftershow.
This is like
It'd be a lot cooler if you did.
Hello.
What's the they have the late show, and then they have the late show,
Yes.
and then they have that show on at midnight. That's what the
Oh, is that
Aftershow
midnight
is.
for you? That's like 2 o'clock in the morning for me. Or whatever it
There
is.
you go.
That's
Oh
very
man,
central.
totally skips all the boring parts. Asshole actually said that.
Which is basically the whole show, probably,
That's
for him.
right. I made fun of him for like 15 minutes today about being like, "Oh, I'm
Oh,
so
that's true.
scared." He's like Valor 2.0.
Hey, he was in the rundown with his. We should put a montage of all his hairstyles and facial things, and
Oh, yeah.
put some soft like 1980s elevator music.
Then
as
again,
the
I mean, I
backdrop.
can't really talk. I've gone through various states of facial
Shaming.
hair and hair. So yeah.
we know Ragnar. we know Ragnar.
What is up with that, dude? You sent
Oh,
out some
gosh.
Instagram picture on Twitter or some shit with like the lighting, and you were like flexing, but like something. It was just like I had to shut it down really quick. My kids were around me.
I
awful.
giffied Ragnar for him.
Oh man.
I was
Yeah. Well, my boss gave me a hard time. He started calling me Pebbles. Told me I need to get a bone to stick in my hair, and I was like, that's not even Bam Bam. I mean, we're talking about the daughter of the Flintstones here. So I think I'm gonna have to dial back the man bun.
a little
That
bit.
being, yeah, just a little bit,
little
just
bit?
a little bit, just a little bit. But yeah,
And bun toads of fun.
that being said, it was really cool getting to see Crowfall. I mean, we've been talking about it long enough,
I like
and
it. I like it.
I really enjoyed their, hey, here's our montage. It's a fucking montage. It was cool. It was cool getting to see, what's actually been going on, being able to see the results of what, where things are right now.
I feel like that was just happened to be the perfect time where people were starting to ask questions, because there was a little bit of people were testing the game and no one knew about it, right?
Yeah.
It was one of those things that came
Everybody
in a little,
knew about it.
No, not everybody knew about it, because
Right.
it was actually Ace Partners testing the game outside of in-house testing. They're actually testing on outside.
Yeah.
So
Well, and
people are
you know,
starting to question transparency, and
Yeah.
everything else was going out, some kind of email jibby jabbies, and all this other
yeah.
stuff was coming out. So this release of the video was like starting, because people are like, hey, this wasn't exactly the transparent Ace that I was expecting to see. So that a lot of questions are being asked.
That was just a bunch of fucking trolls. It's
well,
not the
what it- not
transparent ace.
necessarily.
Blah, 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 blah,
If
Well, it
blah,
also
blah.
had to do with
if
the
you're
forums,
saying,
too.
Yeah. Well, if you're staying, really in touch with things, and you're like, hey, I want to know everything that's going on with Crowfall, you're going to know a lot of stuff that people, maybe weren't supposed to know initially or immediately. But it was always a, you know what, guys, they're just getting it ready. All right. Relax, all right? You don't really want to know somebody's cleaning their house before you show up. You just want to show up and have, not be in a pigsty. So
I think some of the stuff was that when those threads went out, it was like, it looked like they were hiding something, because it came out, it was like the pre-alpha testing, and then they had an actual feedback thread where feedback was going to be put in for the week of ending on the 28th. So last month. There's a week of testing that went on, and there was an actual feedback thread. People were like, hey, I thought, as per the general discussion post in the pre-alpha testing that Todd said, that this stuff was going to be viewable. So there was a lot of people wondering, like, what's going on here? I thought this information and the testing was going to be open to everybody, and now it's being taken off, and then there's this testing that's been going on, and we were supposed to know what was going on with it, and it was just like a lot of stuff that people were actually questioning.
I mean,
So-
yeah, there is a valid discussion in that. I mean, I'm not going to say you're wrong. I think people escalated the feels of that whole thing a little, dialed it up a little bit too much. It's like, hey, look, that they got these guys that donated $10,000 or something. They get to play the game. That's cool. You spent a lot of
Right,
money.
it's to be expected, right?
Yeah,
Like,
but, like,
why,
come on.
People are like, why hide it? Why hide it? Just say it.
We've got Knock up in the lobby. Let's pull him in. Knock, make sure you have the stream muted. We don't want to be listening to that in the background.
Turn your
Let's
radio
ask
off.
let's ask him. Hey, you're in the community. Were you aware of it? Let's see if we go there, and hopefully I've given him enough time to hear this and get things set up. So drag him in now. Knock, welcome to the Aftershow, Nocturnal Demise. What do you think? Do you think that Ace did their due diligence in maintaining that transparency that everyone was expecting, or do you think that it kind of got a little dodgy there at the end?
I think for the most part it was pretty decent. They've done a little bit that seemed a little bit shady at first. I know Lakes had said something about it in one of the forums somewhere that you can't go in expecting that there's no NDA and then suddenly, bam, here's a sticker on it.
Yeah. I mean, they've got to start somewhere. So I mean, that's. Leg, I'm feeling you. I'm right there with you. And I raised an eyebrow. I was like, okay, people are testing the game.
Is Lake's talking to us and we can hear him? There we go.
Yeah,
okay.
there we go. So it's like, I wasn't completely against it. I just personally, when I was reading into it, it just seemed shady. It seemed like you were trying to hide feedback threads, and it was like a lot of backpedaling. Just overall, like I thought. Up until that point, Ace has done a great job. So I was like, why now?
You know what they should have done? Even if people got played and we couldn't watch it, they should have just had that as an open forum that people can just read. And if you're part of that, pledge tier, you can participate. But we should have been able to read that, I think. And the scale of how many fucks I give about it, it rates about maybe a 1 or 2.
Well, let's talk. Honest to God. Well, I was about to say we've probably spent more time talking about it than anyone else, but I 100% guarantee that's not true. Do we really care? No. I mean, as of tomorrow, no one's going to... Honestly, right now, no one cares. Tomorrow, really, no one's going to care. This didn't even make it to the show. This made it to the after show. Come on, guys.
But then you think about it. Would all the events that transpired recently today and at the end of yesterday even have happened if people didn't bring, like, hey, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Maybe not. I
mean, sadly, that's the position that they put themselves in because, this information did get out that, apparently wasn't supposed to. It's a position they're in. But, again, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. And honestly, I think it was just poor timing. And I say that because literally threads came up maybe days before that milestone video. And when that milestone video came out, I was like, shut it down. We all know. There's no hiding here.
No, I think they did a good job with that milestone thing. I think it's really cool. I liked it. We got Miss Martini in here. I'm going to unmute her. Hopefully her shit works. What's up, girl?
Is it working?
There we go.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, your mic's not crackling like nuts.
Oh, jeez.
Well, it's because I'm a badass, let's be real. Sorry, Knock.
There we go. And we know who's going to be going after who during the pre-alpha fun.
So I'm just going to call you TM because I feel silly saying...
You can say Martini.
Martini every single time. What did you think about the milestone video? What did you think about the milestone video?
Oh, it was amazing. It got me so excited to see the progression. Like, they did a lot of work.
See, I've never been behind the scenes developing a game because I'm not a game developer, but I'm curious to see how much is being built now compared to other games. I mean, if you take out the whole portion of where they're building their own engine and doing all that other shit, from that point to this point, are they further along, or is that on par? I'm assuming they're further along, but I don't have an answer.
Yeah, I guess I don't really know either. It was like bare bones, like there was nothing there, and then all of a sudden there's a UI, and there's actions, and they're moving around, and they have icons, and it's like there's a bit more of a world. Like, it's gray box, but there's things you can hide, and you can push people around. It really came together.
Well, and I liked how they're like, oh yeah, if you go into a house, you're probably going to die. It's fun stuff.
And not only that, too, they were talking about how they were surprised themselves in how many systems they actually got in there, looting, equipping, different equipment, different art styles for the equipment. All that stuff wasn't normally ready to go, but it just kind of happened. And they got stealth in there too.
Yeah, it's true. And what I've, and I am, I'm in the same boat as everyone else. I've never, gone through and built or designed a game like, what they're doing here. And what I have received in terms of how they're building this game is that as they continue to build more, it will actually increase the speed of their development of the overall game because they're building it, as I said earlier, they're building it in a modular way. So as they build, more skills, they're able to use those skills for other archetypes, and they don't have to spend that much time building those individually for each individual archetype. I think that the way that they're building is actually going to continue to increase the speed of development, and that's why they're going from pre-alpha at the end of 2015 to their proposed launch at the end of 2016. That's massive. I mean, we're talking that's ambitious. I'm not saying I don't think they can do it, but it's ambitious.
Here's the one thing you have to realize is, once combat is much farther along and they're starting to get the feel of it and they're starting to do the small tweaks rather than the big tweaks, there really isn't that much left to do game-wise when building the game. Obviously, you have all the infrastructure and all the security and all the client stuff that's huge for this type of game, but content-wise, other than designing rule sets and creating them, there's no world building, there's no quest building, there's no raid content you have to build, there's none of that shit that usually takes 2 years just to develop and get the workflow with, because it's all generated. So they have to get the textures right and the art right and put in their all the placement stuff, algorithms and all the other kind of things. But you just skipped out a huge. I mean, everybody's talked about it. I mean,
yeah. Well,
you can see that there's a game around the corner that's sooner rather than later, just by all this stuff.
We've got 5 people in here. What is the next thing that you want to see? Regardless of how likely it would actually make it in, what's the next thing you want to see in testing? What's the cool thing that you want to see next? Go, Lake.
Voxels. I want to see voxels destruction, all that put into their skill system now. I think that's a great step to figure out where they're going to be as far as now they've got these skills, now you get to see the physics, now you get to see the voxels instead of having the black and white area where we're fighting
working
on
that
and stuff. Right, they're working on it. I'm not saying they're not. They have another strike team doing it. So they have the combat strike team. They have the other strike teams in various stages of development. I want to see that as their next module tossed in. So now we get to test everything we're testing now, but with the voxel setting. Welcome to what they just told us this game was going to be like. Give it to me now.
Do it.
Everything now.
Do it.
All right. Going down the list. Let's say Nocturne. What do you got? What do you want to see next?
I had already kind of mentioned it. I'd like to see some stealth mechanics going in, but but you know me. That's my thing. And I know. Yeah, go away, Lakes.
Okay. I mean, stealth mechanics.
I don't think we'll see that for a while because they're still. I think they
if that's a
stopped at 3
milestone,
archetypes. You know what I mean?
If that's a milestone, what it's going to be is, okay, now we have the money, now we can begin building it, but we're also already working on this stuff. So that I see that. I agree with you, Dragon. It's going to be like, okay, cool, now we can add it to the list, but there's already a list.
They're doing
Martini?
infrastructure at this point.
Yeah, Martini, what do you got? What's one thing that you just absolutely love to see end up in alpha testing next?
Well, I agree with Lakes, the voxels definitely, but just to be different, I'm really interested in the druid. I'd like, and other classes as well, but I'm really interested in the support mechanics because they said there wasn't going to be fire hose healing, and I'm a healer, and I'm really interested to see how they're going to implement support.
Now, would you be satisfied with one of those class rundown posts, or do you need to see it in action?
I mean, it would be nice to have theory, but I really want to see it in action to see if it would be for me or not. Because, I mean, you can read a post and get an idea of it in your head, but it's actually very different from what it is actually like.
Well, they got the video guy now, so maybe we can put some stuff together. We
Fingers
paid for it
crossed.
with the milestone. So
Sure enough. Well, and
It was 2 milestones ago.
what's entertaining is they had a thread up about tips and tricks for alpha, and I'm just looking at that. I'm like, man, I mean, they're putting a whole lot of faith in people to be able to just hop in there and like. On the streams, one of the guys like, what are these things popping up on the screen? It's like, okay, that probably needs to be in the tips and tricks because apparently people don't know what combos are.
and they'll figure it out.
They'll figure it out, but the people who are already in there, or I mean, you heard it sounded like the devs were working with those guys at least. I'd assume they'd probably maintain a presence for quite some time, if not throughout the entire testing phase, and. They're going to have to answer those questions over and over and over again. So if you hear the same question more than a few times, it probably needs to be added to that tips and tricks thread. And you know what? I'm sure that there's going to be a couple people who just do it themselves, and Crowfall will benefit from not having to put time into it.
Yeah. I just want to get my hands on the game and I want to get the feel of, the control and the smoothness of the characters, or where they're at in developing that.
Well, what do you want to see
say.
next, though? I mean, what's the next thing that you want to see?
I just want to see more of what they're developing. I mean, there's nothing specific. I mean, like if you want to say, destruction, yeah, I'd love to see destruction and see how the voxels work. I also want to see what it looks like when you have 200 people on screen and you're throwing catapults at a castle and how that.
All right, so you want to see stress testing.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen next. But
I mean, 48.
Destruction. If you're going to say anything, let's just say destruction.
Yeah.
If I can't play it,
you can just do what both Lake and Martini said. That's fine. You can be like that. I want to see the archer as well, the hunter, I believe they call it. I want to see that. I want to see how the smaller projectiles that don't have that AOE necessarily. I want to see how those operate. I want to see how that ranged combat feels, and I want it to be technically challenging. I want it to take some time to get used to range and not just be a point and click. And where it is right now, it looks challenging. If you're able to get through and polish that up to where it's responsive as well, I think that's a good start. And that's what I want to see next. I want to see how that plays out.
We got Keegan in here. I dragged him in here.
Hey, Keegan, welcome back.
What's up, guys? How you guys doing?
Doing well. You want to throw in something at the end?
Sure, yeah. No, I'm like a super fan, crazy guy like you. I upped my pledge just to get into Alpha 1.
Nice.
But I gotta say, I was really disappointed. I didn't see a single, video on the EK. And I was like, what's going on? I was really confused at what happened.
Trolling us, man.
You guys weren't... You guys were expecting something different.
No.
No, I think it's all cool, and mentioning other different archetypes is fine, but I think that's all like the fun fiddly stuff that only matters if it's your favorite, like the Confessor's Mind, so obviously that's something I'm interested in. All the other archetypes are just more of the same. I want to actually see much bigger things, something where it matters and not just an arena spam, but actually some part of the game mechanics, something that's part of the heart of it. That's what I'm really looking forward to. I know that's going to take a little while to get to.
Yeah, it's going to be a
because
while.
other things have to... Because that's the stuff that is going to, prolong the interest. It's not just going to be everybody just spam fest, okay, somebody's dead, that's great. That doesn't matter. But if we could have a little bit more, but obviously that's probably going to be a couple months out. So I'm just enjoying the ride right now.
I mean, out of all the archetypes that are out there right now, there's not one particular that I'm excited about. I'd love to see some more different kind of casters, because a lot of it's kind of melee right now. You have the assassin, the stalker, or bowcasters. I think the only casters are the druid and the confessor, right?
You got the Frostweaver
and the Frostweaver, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
and so they've got those three, and then they've got the hunter. So you got those are kind of your four range, and then they've got a number of different melee.
I've always been a fan of like a necromancer type of class. I mean, that's not even on the list, and I doubt that's coming anytime soon. But maybe
they've already talked about a pet for the hunter, though, haven't they? And
I've never been a fan.
I'm not either. I've never seen it done well. So, have any of you seen a pet done well? I mean, really well in a combat, any sort of combat environment.
PvP or PvE?
It was
PvP.
always like, see, every time
Yeah.
I've had like pets in a PvP game, it's always been some sort of gimmick. Is, oh, they're running a bunch of pets, tons of DPS. Like, it was always something that needed to be nerfed, and if you ran a bunch of them, you're kind of a noob. Like, they're just only run like a whole group of pets, and then they sit back and heal their pets and let the pets do damage, and they suck, right? That's the whole consensus of it. So I'd like to see if it's done right, because I mean, personally, I look at pets in the pet play game, and every other game I've played, it's been pretty terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the
I
first
kinda-
game. Well, how did
Dragon, let them talk.
well, I had a game that just popped in my head.
Yeah, Dark Age of Camelot's the only game that I like that had any sort of pet mechanic.
Okay.
What about City of Heroes or Villains or whatever?
Oh,
What's that?
oh man, talk about. Oh,
This is the only other game that had a
Oh.
pet class with some arena play to it.
so yeah, about that. The pathing was horrible.
Was it? Yeah.
They just show up out of nowhere after being gone for a couple minutes, and you're like, oh, I thought you were dead. Okay, welcome back. Cool concept, but I mean, it always comes down to pathing and controlling. And I mean, I tried playing Annie in League of Legends. You get a little bear and you control your bear. And I mean, either you have those types of controls where you're literally having to tell this thing what to do all the time.
Where's your
or-
micro, bro? Where's your micro?
Right?
Tibbers?
Yeah, Tibbers. I mean,
Non-existent,
I love
micro, non-existent.
mostly non-existent. Mostly
but we're
non-existent.
using bad examples. These are all bad examples.
What's
Because
a
we're
good
talking
one,
about,
though?
Well,
There
well,
are no
that's
good
what I said.
examples.
Everybody is basing it off of like what this test is. This small little thing you need to do a MOBA style thing. We're talking expansive countryside battles. So you don't have to go into it like I need this one animal to fight alongside me in a PvP. I can have a siege animal or a burrow animal or something that helps the overall gameplay.
Sure.
Not this one-on-one thing.
So
That's
you-
You're a liper, bro. We get it. You want a little pet animal you can dress up and be like, oh, you
his,
stand over
his
there.
name,
Inspiration
his
for
name is
whatever.
Frederick.
Well,
But
you know,
Final
I know the
Fantasy
hardcore.
is
So
bad.
he kind of brings up a point. It's like, what if you have a little siege siege pet that you drop him down? He really doesn't do much except for what he's designed to do, which is sit there and fire shit at a wall.
Or he scouts things for you like a bird,
yeah.
like I said earlier.
Woo!
Whoa, Lake, how
that's
did
the thing,
you
you have to
bring
think
that?
outside the
Or
box.
How
you
did you
can't
bring
just
that
think
full
one-on-one.
circle? How did you pull that off?
Or it's
I
like a
have-
little guy that runs around, slash hailing everybody. Hail,
There you
hail.
go.
Hey,
Dude,
Oh,
Val is not like ready. He's ready to pounce. I make one mistake.
He's so
like,
hyper
"Just
tonight,
stop it."
man.
He's like,
I mean,
You're, like, so
I'd already
hyper
forgotten
today.
about your bringing that up, and I was like, I'm impressed. You brought that one back.
hey Blair, I want a bear cavalry. Can I have a pet bear with a ballista on its back?
I'm not upset. I'm not upset.
I'm just saying is I don't think the whole game should be centered around this 1v1 stuff that everybody's interested in because that
Who's
takes
who's
away
saying
the
that? I don't think anybody's saying
because
that.
no, the reason I'm saying I'm not accusing anybody individually, but it's
God damn
brought
it.
up in the sense of, well, let me have this one, and you give a MOBA example. Well, that's not what Crowfall is, and so I'm saying
I'm talking
we
about
have to think
control
outside the
commands.
box.
He's just
Yeah, I'm
We have to
talking-
think outside
I'm
of
talking
it.
about how you control your pets because you have games like, in Guild Wars or there's a number of games where you can just set like the aggressiveness of your pets, and they follow you around, and that's it. They just follow you around, and Then you also have games like League of Legends on the far end where you micro control your pet, and it's not saying, it makes somebody better, worse, 1v1. It is, it's just the different ways you can control your pets, and when you start getting out into large scale combat, you get out into these big maps. You have terrain, you have people, you have all of these other
Well, the way
effects.
did it was which I wish people expanded on. I mean, because that's a really old game. Is they had levels of do you want to guard, or do you want to zone? Is it straight up aggression? And you give them different commands, and they would do that. And then you can always recall them and send them out. So it gave them a little bit more like options, and you can even put them in a location. Say this location, anything comes in that location. So
Yeah,
it's
you
almost
want
like a mini
RTS
RTS.
controls, yeah.
It's almost like an RTS, but with your pets.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm
That
curious
might be a
to see
little
how they
OP.
do it. I'm really curious to see how they do it. I think it's going to be more like what we saw in Guild Wars 1, with the little archer pet, and honestly, I think that's that's how it's going to come across. It's how it's going to feel, and people are going to enjoy it to that extent. But in the grand scheme of things, I don't think it's going to be well implemented. I'm sorry, guys. History is against you.
Well, I mean, I can think of like one way to do it. Like if you had the druid class, and you're playing like maybe a control type of spec. Here's my one what if in the after show. Let's say you have your bear cavalry spell, but it's like you summon bears from the forest and they come from one random direction. You just charge into a group with a shit ton of mass, and it just pushes everybody out of the way. You just like clear a hole in a charge. And that's a spell. Boom! It has nice effects to it, and it looks pretty. And there's your quote-unquote pet class. They're temporary pets for spells. I think that'd be a cool way to do it.
Yeah.
All right.
I want to end the show with a simple yes/no answer.
You have the most people on ever in GameVox, and you just want to end the show.
Well,
I mean, you've been wanting to host the show all night long. You've been so hyper.
I don't think we're going to talk this question.
Yes, no. Should Valor not host the show?
All right, not the question I was going to ask.
Is there money involved?
All right, so, okay, simply yes/no answer to this question. Should they leave the Hunger Dome that you can purchase and build in your e-case?
Sure.
Oh.
Okay. Well, I don't give a fuck.
Yes!
Yes, of course. Of course. I mean, that's free money for them. That's something for us to do.
Yes.
That's a way to settle an argument.
Maybe a battlegrounds type of thing.
Man.
Well, here's the thing. We were talking about this a couple of weeks ago on the actual show. This is our one what if. What if you have a campaign where you either have one death or limited number of lives, and you had a mechanic like you have.
H1Z1 went to this for a lot of their maps.
Isn't that the most popular thing, though?
Shit.
The Last Man Standing, isn't it the most popular game style?
Map type. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, a big reason is because the rest of the game was,
and
not
then you
finished.
can implement guild versus guild battles within the Hunger Dome, and now you have Guild Wars 1 PvP, but revamped. The game everyone's been waiting for forever. Let's scrap the rest of the game. Hunger Dome, Guild Wars 1 PvP, action combat, crowfall. Whoop whoop.
Well, here's the thing why they probably won't do that. Because that might be pretty popular, and then no one's going to be playing the campaign.
Because you'd get a bunch of sand babies crying about it, is why they won't do it.
Well,
Mike,
I mean,
that beer's getting to you, I think.
Oh, man.
He's no 2-beer queer over there. That might be Valor, because he gets hyper after beer number 3 during the after show.
I was going to fill this up with water so it would continue looking like I was drinking beer, but yeah, we only had one this day. It's sad.
Well, this day there was only
this
one
day
beer.
I started One Direction. Never go One Direction.
Yes, I think there's a lot of directions that can go with these game styles. It depends on how they want to spread out their population. Looking from a macro point of view in game design, if you create games that are pretty fun, I mean, you're making a fun game. That's a good thing. But you spend all this time developing campaigns and all that style, or you're pulling people from playing that. That's the only consideration you have to.
I agree, and that has been their consistent response to anything along these lines, whether it's been arenas, whether it's been warring EKs, whether it's been dungeons, boss mobs, anything. They've always said and gone back to, look, the focus of this game, what this game is the campaigns. That's why people are going to buy it. That's why people are going to play it. And yes, the EKs are there, and people can 100% enjoy the game in the EK. But I mean, it's the core of the game is going to be the campaigns, and EKs are going to be like Blitzball in Final Fantasy X.
So, did you guys have any other discussion points you wanted to talk about, or would you like to wrap up this after show today? Thanks for coming on, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, I do kind of want to talk about it. So,
not you, dude. The people that were kind enough to log on to GameVox and talk with us.
We'll get there right after this. So,
I'm gonna let you finish, guys.
We'll let you guys
Beyonce totally had the best.
All right, Kanye.
But so I'm really excited. We got GameVox all set up for the pre-alpha. The guys came on today. They already downloaded it, so we're already here. If you guys haven't checked it out yet, you guys can join us later on in future shows. But this is where we want to group up, play, test the game when we all get in. So if you guys haven't done it yet, make sure you download GameVox and join us.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And for the people who missed Where they can see the feed from earlier, I just threw that in Twitch as well. So feel free to go watch some of those.
If you search for Crowfall, I'm pretty sure it'll pop up. Let me check that, actually.
If they ever put it up on YouTube, I'll share it on our channel as well. So again, follow us on YouTube. I try and get a good amount of stuff up there on the channel. So yeah.
Have you tweeted the link out?
I have not tweeted the link out.
Gamebox? Tweet it so I can retweet it, please.
For Gamebox, yeah, I'll get on that.
If you simply go to Twitch and type in Crowfall in the top search bar,
probably like us.
well, we're up at top because we're the only people live streaming. But his past 4 or so videos are up there, so you can just click on them easily. So, if you're listening to this and you don't see the link, or Valor screws it up, or YouTube screws it up, or something like that, you can go to Twitch, search for Crowfall, and Jumbo Person will find it. If you're actually listening to the after show after, God, what, half hour of an after show? All right, I think it's time to wrap. We never like hour-long after shows. We've only done that twice before, and nothing good could come of it. Especially
and Lake's never been here for it.
Especially for
Big just got here.
We got to bring him in. We got to have the party. Okay,
there
we're
we
still
go.
not automatically muted, by the way, Lakes, when you pop into the channel, when you get dragged in. Just so you know. J-Big, what's up, brother? Yeah, your shit's broken.
Surprise, surprise. You probably wanted to come in here and talk some more shit.
I might not be muted now.
There you go, buddy.
Is the stream over?
No.
I mean, we're
after
we're
show,
still live.
Come on.
Welcome.
Oh, I'm just here for the post-party gaming session. Sorry.
Yeah, man.
First time caller, long
We're
time
setting
listener.
up our LARPing session for next Wednesday morning down at the park.
I heard the
Bring your
ending
lightning
credits,
bolts.
so I hopped in.
Magic missile.
And there we go. Yeah, I guess we've wound down. We've reached the end of our time. Someone needs to play that closing time song. You knew where I was going with this.
Tyler needs one more corny joke before he leaves for the night. We should have
man.
turned it off when you suggested to do it.
I tried.
2 hours
I tried.
ago. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for joining us here in GameVox. Make sure you download it, hop in the channel anytime during the day. You might find people that you want to chat with and talk about Crowfall. It's always going to be open and available, so always log in. You might see us pop in here and there during the evening, so you can chat with us if that's actually something you want to do. I don't know why you would want to do that, but you can. And follow us on social medias. We're going to be here next week. I don't know what time we're going to figure it out. Pay attention to Twitter. Valor's going to hook it up. Thank you very much, guys. Take care. Have a good one.
Peace, guys.